Good morning. This is Larry Thames reporting on a recent aviation safety and manufacturing quality issue involving Pratt & Whitney's Geared Turbofan Engine Program, known as the GTF. What began as a minor issue and a few parts quickly escalated into a major concern when metal powder was found on dozens of critical engine components. This has led to more inspections, engine removals, and significant planning concerns for airlines operating the affected Airbus A320 family aircraft. Public reporting from RTX showed that 600 to 700 additional engines would need to be removed for maintenance between 2023 and 2026. The company has also estimated the financial impact of the issue to be upward of $3.5 billion. From a leadership perspective, this is not just a logistical problem centered around non-critical aircraft components. It is a serious process failure that turned into a sustainment, safety, cost, and trust issue for a major aviation engine manufacturer. The GTF program had a lot riding on it before this issue ever reached the fleet. In January 2026, Lufthansa received the first Airbus A320 powered by Pratt & Whitney geared turbofan engines. Airbus promoted the aircraft as a new engine technology innovation capable of reducing fuel burn, noise, eclipsing older aircraft designs. That mattered because the GTF was not just another engine, it was tied to emissions, efficiency, noise reduction, and the future of narrow aircraft body designs. So when a manufacturing issue affects this type of program, the impact is not just technical, it affects the trust of the entire product line and the management strategy behind it. The safety side of the issue is where the situation becomes much more serious. The concern was tied to rotating engine parts and to what the Federal Aviation Administration described as a high-risk situation that could cause uncontained hub failure, high-energy debris release, engine damage, aircraft damage, and when possible aircraft loss. In maintenance terms, that is not a small finding. That is a safety of flight concern tied to a critical engine part. When a failure like this reaches the fleet, it is no longer just a Pratt & Whitney problem. It becomes a problem for the airlines flying the aircraft, the maintainers working the engines, and the crews operating them, the passengers riding on them, and the regulators responsible for oversight. That is why engineers and manufacturers carry so much responsibility in the aviation industry. One miss issue in aviation can quickly erode trust, especially when it involves a major engine program. The operational impact of this issue reached industry and corporate levels. Spirit Airlines, one of the operators most affected by the GTF issue, saw its grounded A320 family aircraft rise from an average of 13 in January 2024 to about 40 in December 2024. This shows how a manufacturing quality issue can quickly become a fleet readiness problem. From an aircraft maintenance perspective, this is exactly why quality control cannot be treated as a back office function. Once a defect reaches the field, airlines, schedulers, maintainers, passengers, and regulators all feel the effects. Organizational trust plays a major role in safety behavior because people are more likely to report concerns and follow standards when they believe organization will respond correctly. From an operational military perspective, this type of issue is familiar in aircraft maintenance. A small process gap can sit quietly inside a system for years before it becomes a major readiness and safety problem. That is why culture matters. Swartz explains that ethical corporate culture has to be sustained through leadership behavior, clear expectations, and internal practices. Stated plainly, ethics cannot be a slogan after something goes wrong. It has to be built into work instructions, inspections, training, documentation, supplier controls, and follow-up actions that keep the GTF system safe. From an aviation leadership perspective, the issue was far larger than the mere metal powder problem. The real concern is how a mistake like this can happen, how long it takes to reveal itself as it moves through the product line, and how long it takes to reach the fleet. That is where feedback loops matter. Pratt & Whitney required stronger checks and balances, material tracking, supply oversight, inspections, and communication protocols for airlines using its engines. As leaders, it is important not to just get wrapped up in cost, delivery dates, and the production of parts. Quality control has to be measured through the entire process, especially in the aviation industry. Research in aviation safety also shows that leadership, culture, and learning systems all play a role in preventing larger safety failures. This perspective also ties directly into companies with a conscience. A company with a conscience does not wait for public pressure to trigger action. It builds accountability in the system before failure occurs, Zaman argues that corporate culture matters when stakeholders' violations occur, a claim that applies directly to aviation, as the stakeholder matter far more than investors do. They include passengers, crews, mechanics, suppliers, communities, and regulators. When a company's culture supports transparency and accountability, is more likely to protect both its mission and the public. The biggest reason from this issue is that aviation leaves little room for weak standards. If a company such as Pratt & Whitney manufactures engines, responsibility must be present in its inspections, paperwork, parts tracking, and how problems are reported. A poor company culture can spread outside the organization and impact customers, employees, regulators, and the environment and the stakeholders. For the Pratt & Whitney, the fix is not just to complete inspection, is to maintain quality and safety despite the buildup of pressure from cost, schedulers, and product demands.